Hi everyone, Israeli Salad has been running now for, thank God, 135 weekly programs. Time for a change. Don't worry, nothing dramatic. Israeli Salad will now be aired on Sundays instead of Thursdays. So let's begin our 136th program. Shalom and welcome to Israeli Salad. Fish is a traditional Shabbat dish, whether it's the Ashkenazic gefilte fish or the Sephardic spicy cooked fish. Even some of the traditional Shabbat songs talk about the delight of honoring the Shabbat with festive meals with wine, fish, and meat. Now the fish and fishermen that we will now meet remind us what our sages teach us, that one should not worry about spending time, effort, and money preparing for Shabbat. He will receive his efforts back as a reward. Eli Alfonso and his brother own a small fish store in the southern city of Ashdod. Maybe thanks to the name of their store, Birkat Hayam, which means the blessing of the sea, or maybe due to their fishing expertise, in the past few years the Alfonsos have caught especially large fish.
This fish is one that is found mainly in really deep water, but we caught it not far from here, near the rocks of the beach. I gotta tell you, it was kind of interesting catching something like this.
The locust fish the Alfonsos caught is impressive. 1.3 meters long, weighing more than 80 kilograms or 175 pounds. These dimensions make both Alfonso and his fish a local attraction.
Wow, how did you catch it?
The sign in the fish store declaring that the owners refrain from working on Shabbat reminds us of the famous Talmudic story about Yosef Mokir Shabbat. Yosef, who treasures the Shabbat. The story tells us about Yosef the fisherman, who would spend whatever he had and whatever he earned on something special for Shabbat. Due to his passionate observance of the Shabbat, he was rewarded with a precious jewel, which he found in the belly of a fish he purchased especially for Shabbat. So what could one do with this big kosher fish?
The best recipe would be the traditional Moroccan fish dish. You take clean and kosher coriander leaves, a few pieces of garlic, half a cup of oil, a cup of water, 2 teaspoons of sweet paprika, half a teaspoon of hot paprika, a few red peppers, boil them for 10 minutes, and then add pieces of fish, and then, on Shabbat of course, you sit down to eat and enjoy.
The land of Israel is the land of the Bible, the Tanakh. Every site in the land of Israel reminds us of the story of our forefathers, and the place that holds the most biblical history is, of course, the spiritually abundant city of Jerusalem. In the city of Jerusalem, adjacent to the Israel Museum, is the Bible Lands Museum. We're off to Jerusalem. Archaeological findings, maps, and models, these are some of the methods through which visitors to the Bible Lands Museum in Jerusalem learn about life in the time of the Bible, the Tanakh. How did the idols look that our foremother Rachel hid? How were the pyramids in Egypt laid out? The museum provides the answers to these types of questions.
Here we have a collection of unique exhibits. Everything comes from the cultures that existed here in the Middle East in ancient times. We have archaeological findings that portray both the material and the spiritual culture of the nations that lived in the area thousands of years ago. As opposed to other museums that present cultures of nations as well, here we take the Tanakh as a guideline.
This detailed map teaches about the wandering of the nation of Israel.
זו מפה שבעצם מתארת את המרחב הזה שאנחנו קוראים לו ארצות המקרא.
This is a map that describes the whole region that we call the Bible lands. We're talking here about the Middle East with all the countries that are in the peripheries. We have Egypt to the south of us, Syria, Mesopotamia, the land between the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers. We have, of course, Iran, ancient Persia, Anatolia, which is modern Turkey, and even Greece, Sudan, and Ethiopia are countries that are mentioned one way or another in the Tanakh.
The exhibits in the museum have been collected from many sources, mainly the extensive excavations that take place continuously in the city of Jerusalem.
This is a three-dimensional model that presents a very interesting and beautiful overlook of Jerusalem. How did our Jerusalem look more than 2,500 years ago?
Okay, that was one of the museums in Jerusalem. Now let's visit one of the beautiful neighborhoods of Jerusalem, Ohel Moshe, the tent of Moses. In the heart of one of the oldest areas of Jerusalem, located across from the Machane Yehuda open-air market, almost hidden is the neighborhood of Ohel Moshe. A project leads in this neighborhood that is once again at the peak of its bloom. In this picturesque yard is a new exhibit called A Picture in a Stone. The exhibit contains 20 photographs of the neighborhood's first settlers. The pictures show Jewish pioneers and their family members, descendants of the Sephardic community. The neighborhood was built in the late 19th century. In the 1880s, there was a public area with several wells, a garden, and trees, which every resident was required to water. The plaque at the entrance gate reads that the neighborhood was named after Moshe Montefiore.
We found incredible and amazing archives with photographs. The Sephardim love to take pictures, unlike the Ashkenazim. And there's a stockpile of wonderful photographs, and we wondered, what can we do with this great pile of pictures? And Devora Avidan, the director of Beit Weiner, came up with an idea for a project that would speak in the language of Jerusalem. A memorial and photographs on the wall, a very Jerusalemite language. For me personally, there was a double involvement in this project. My grandfather was one of the original residents of the neighborhood. HaChacham Harav Binyamin HaLevi, who arrived here in the early 19th century in the 1820s. He was the head of the neighborhood committee. He was an official in the local synagogue.
The neighborhood of Ohel Moshe was in fact the Sephardic answer to her twin sister, the Ashkenazi neighborhood of Mazkeret Moshe. At the heart of the neighborhood is the large synagogue that has kept its original appearance until today. Ohel Moshe is also the neighborhood from the book Bustan Sfaradi, written by Israel's 5th president Yitzhak Navon, who lived in the neighborhood. Photos of his family grace the walls. One of the pictures on the walls of Yitzhak Navon's home shows his family on the shores of Tel Aviv.
Although they're sitting at the beach, it's like they were sitting in a photographer's studio. A really impressive photo. It's not as if they were just taking pictures at the beach.
Also for the Shirazi family, there's an interesting story.
The father called each of his sons with names that began with Achi, my brother. Achiezer, Achitub, Achishemer. All of the sons' names began with Achi. His first wife gave birth to 3 children, and she died. He remarried, and the second wife was certainly a fertile woman. She gave birth to a set of triplets and then 3 sets of twins.
From the old photographs, we continue to the new murals. Here at the opening of the famous Machane Yehuda market, a large mural portrays the Jerusalem of today.
Yes, sir. What would you like? Kebab or shishlik? Yerushalayim sheli. אמר החייל מאשדות יעקב ירושלים.
Garin is the Hebrew word for kernel. Garin Torani is the term used for a small group that gets together to live in a location where there is not much Torah studies and observance. As a garin, a kernel, the group is small but strong, just like a kernel is a small unit that eventually grows into a large tree. Let's visit the southern city of Arad as we join the Garin Torani of Gilad. One who wishes to become wise should go south, said our sages, and so we went south to Arad to meet a small group of people who came to spiritually and socially strengthen the city. We met the Gilad group and the students of the yeshiva called Chen Bamidbar, Desert Charm. The Gilad group comprises 10 families under the auspices of Rabbi Yoni Lani. The group is like a spiritual tower that shines as a beacon of Torah for the community.
אנחנו באנו לערד בכדי להפיץ תורה.
We came to Arad in order to spread Torah. We disseminate Torah by way of sitting and learning here in a very serious fashion, and in this way, people become attached to the learning. Thank God, 10 Jews have become observant through the yeshiva.
10 אנשים כבר חזרו בתשובה דרך הישיבה.
From the intensity of my attachment to Torah and to the yeshiva, I began to feel and understand what it means to be bound to the Creator. I told my friends about it, and thank God I have the opportunity to do so. I wanted to share with others the feelings that I myself felt.
The group is responsible for many spiritual and social activities.
We carry out activities in the secular schools under the full supervision of the Ministry of Education. The goal is to bring the youth as close to Torah as possible. Our activities span age levels from kindergarten to 8th grade, and at the end of the school year, we organize a summer program for lower-income families for a reduced fee.
The rest of the people in the group cooperate with the local religious girls' school in the city and the Jewish studies school that helps teach Jewish ideas in secular institutions.
Okay. אז בתוך ירושלים אמרנו
Okay, in Jerusalem we said there's another city, right? Near where? Near the old city or the regular city?
עתיקה או העיר הרגילה? עתיקה? כן.
אני בחרתי לי מקום מתוך כלל המקומות שיש. החלטתי שערד זקוקה בעיקר...
When deciding where to serve as part of my national service, I chose to be in Arad because it's a place that really needs people. The need for Judaism is very great. Arad is a place that's in the middle of the desert geographically and from a Torah standpoint as well. There's not a lot of Judaism here, not a lot of traditional Zionist ideals. And so, we're here to expose the children to as much as we can. A month after I started the Beit Midrash, the study hall, after the holidays I started a lesson in Talmud that was one of our very first projects.
We arrived in Arad for the Siyum, the completion of the learning of the Talmudic tractate of Psachim, and we met an honored guest, the Sephardic chief rabbi, the Rishon LeZion, Harav Shlomo Amar.
I want to tell you, precious children, young boys and girls, you should know that the eyes of all of Israel are upon you. You are the future. We hold in Arad a regular evening Talmud class like the ones that take place throughout Israel and the rest of the world. And we invited Chief Rabbi Shlomo Amar here. And we thank him very much. The rabbi has honored us with his presence at this special evening. As a matter of fact, because of those who are learning Daf Yomi here, the entire city was honored with this important visit.
There are other activities that the Gilad group is involved with in Arad, the illegal Bedouin building on the land surrounding Arad and within the city.
בעיה נוספת שקיימת בעיר הזאת זה השתלטות של הבדואים על בתים בתוך העיר.
Another of the problems facing Arad is the increasing control of the Bedouin on houses in the city and those that hang around here. Sometimes you might even get the feeling that you yourself are in Cairo or Damascus, and it causes a lot of problems in the city. We're trying to deal with it, but it's difficult. The fact is, it's also causing a lot of people to leave Arad. And we're trying to turn the wheel back and inspire people to come to Arad. If people don't come back to Arad, we'll have to stand on the rooftops in another 20 years because this will be a Bedouin town.
The Christian missionaries that are active in Arad present another task for the Gilad group. These missionaries prey upon those who have little knowledge about Judaism.
We hear about the missionaries that come to this holy city to try to convert Jews. They target innocent Jews who are unlearned in their own faith, taking advantage of their trusting nature and their difficulties to draw them to the Christian faith. We must wage a legal war against them because we cannot allow this to happen.
Members of Gilad have participated in the recent struggle against the Gush Katif and Shomron expulsion. During the struggle, a number of them were arrested and spent time in jail. One of the graduates of the yeshiva is Hananel Dayan, who was recently publicized as a soldier who refused to shake the hand of the IDF chief of staff at a public ceremony. The Gilad group is the central artery of Jewish lifeblood for the residents of Arad, who have no significant connection to tradition. A small handful of people are responsible for these important projects, people who see themselves as emissaries in a national mission, and therefore they need support.
We feel that the goal is very important and there are many activities that we can carry out in the city. We have classes in the synagogues and in many other places in the city. As a resident of the city, my wife and I get to know the neighbors.
The best support is to come and join the community.
יש פה צרכים, סך הכל צרכים גם ציוניים וגם צרכים...
This community has many needs in terms of Zionism and religion, especially with the missionaries. This is a population that needs strengthening. There are organizations that need our help. We came here to check it out, to get a sense of the place, and perhaps we'll decide to move here. From what I've seen so far, I've been very impressed. I've seen a lot of good things here, and I hope it'll grow and develop with God's help. With all the issues around the recent Gaza expulsion, the phrase that has stood out most has been, I too am connected. I used to ask myself, what does that mean, that I too am connected? What does it really mean to connect? It means to come and really connect with the people of Israel in the cities, to live in the city, to make a connection with your neighbors, and to talk to people, to become a part of the community. It hurts that people don't understand that right now is the time to take that spirit and use it to gather the people of Israel, to use that strength to connect with them in the cities. And that's the present goal.
On May 26th, we marked Yom Yerushalayim, Jerusalem Day, commemorating the reunification of Israel's eternal capital, Jerusalem, in 1967. INN TV Arutz Sheva was in Jerusalem on this special day as we held a live broadcast from the Western Wall. We'll end today's program with the celebrations from Jerusalem. Join us again next week. Until then, from all of us here at INN TV Arutz Sheva, Shalom.
Love ישראל, חדש ישראל, הריקה